Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Welcome, Chargers. We're glad to have you back. Can you believe the second quarter of 2021 is almost in the books? But I will tell you, it was a great quarter for the Charge Podcast. We had some awesome guests, and I want to share that with you. But I want to thank you. Number one, I want to thank you for being a listener of the Charge Podcast, because we keep growing each and every day. We're in all 50 states, and now we're in over 73 countries. And I'm telling you, we keep getting new downloads all the time. So if you can like and share and let your friends know about it, I would truly appreciate it, because then we can touch more lives. And you know, my servant leadership philosophy is to give, love, and make a difference each day. And that's part of my purpose. And the reason I do this podcast is to share with you some great guests. So let's start off our routine of what we do. In the recap session, we share each guest, and then we share a little clip about that guest. And then you may want to go out and check that podcast out again. So in episode number 168, we had Archbishop Naumann. And I'm telling you, that was a great podcast, listening and hearing from Archbishop Naumann, this tragedy he had as a young child, and then to be a priest and be able to be a disciple for the Christ and be able to share that message. I think you will truly enjoy it. So listen now to this clip on episode 168.
I think the first thing you have to do is you have to listen, and you have to learn what's gone before you. The bishop who ordained me a priest, I remember he told myself and my classmates, he says, the first year you're at a parish, look out the window. And basically he was saying, don't try and change a lot of things, but come to know the people. And I think part of what I've found, that if people know that you really care about them and that you love them and you want what's best for them, if you gain that trust of them, then they'll follow you, even to places maybe they wouldn't naturally want to go. And so I think an important part of leadership is gaining the respect and confidence of those that you're called to lead. I think it's also to have a vision of where you think things ought to go, and to be bold in that vision, to think big.
Well, we kept it in the Kansas City family, and we brought in Joel Goldberg for episode 169. And I tell you, he is a sportscaster, but he's got lots of great information. And him and I hit it off because, of course, he likes to talk about positive culture in the workplace too. And he's seen it from teams and organizations and how it makes a difference and how each player impacts each person. So you really need to listen to this podcast, even if you're not a Kansas City Royals fan, because he'll make you really understand why positive culture is so important in the workplace. So listen to episode 169 of Joel Goldberg.
In some form or another, and I think as leaders, we have to recognize this, that everyone within an organization can be a leader. Mm-hmm. They may not be part of the leadership team. They may not be the ones that everyone is turning to and saying, hey, you run the meeting or you make the decisions. But that parking lot attendant can be a leader in the way they act. That parking lot attendant can make this massive impression on fellow employees or customers coming in. And when they walk out and they say, wow, what a great smile, or what great energy. You know, when you pull into the drive-thru and you order food and that person says, here you go. Or they say, hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. And you pull away with a warm feeling. It has nothing to do with how good the food was or not, but just the experience. That person's a leader, because they've now influenced maybe me in going away saying, you know what, I need to pay that forward. I need to go out there and make sure that I put a smile on someone's face today.
We were on a Kansas City roll in the first part of the second quarter because Jason Holzer lives up in Kansas City now too, but he is formerly from Taos, Missouri, which is close to my hometown. And we had a great conversation about being raised in a small town, but really making a difference and deciding how hard work, dedication, and a strong faith in God can make a difference in his life. He had very much a tragedy happen at a young age, but he decided to do something with it and impact others. So now he is working in a school and he is a physical education teacher, but he also is sharing how as coaches, we make such an impact on people. And he has a program called 4D Athletes. And you need to listen to this podcast because if you have a son or daughter in sports, or if you've ever been in sports, you're going to relate to this podcast. So listen to episode 170 of Jason Holzer, and we'll give you a little taste of what you're going to hear if you go listen to the full podcast.
But for me, it came to a point like I have a choice. I can let this deter me or I can define it. I can acknowledge it, I can face it and turn it somehow into a positive over time. Now it's taken 15 years, but I found out like, hey, I always ask myself the question, why does everything work in my favor? Whether I like it or not, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, I feel like God is always trying to lead us to who we're supposed to become. And so you can either use what's happened in your life to become a victim of it, or you can become a thriver of it and work through it, take the tough route, but it's going to be easier in the long run. Or you can take the easy route and make it tougher in the long run. And again, it's what we end up choosing every day that defines us.
Well, you always got to get better at improving your productivity. And we all get challenged in this. And my next guest is a business strategist, and Perry Marshall in episode 171 really shared some of that 80-20 principle, but really how he became a maverick and the changes that you need to do. And we're all getting sucked into too many distractions. And he recently wrote a book called Detox, Declutter, Dominate. You need to check it out. I've read it, and Perry Marshall has lots of information. So let's check out this short clip, and then make sure you go back and listen to the full episode 171 of Perry Marshall.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with what you don't do. Okay. So worst possible way to start your day. Ring, 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 ring. Alarm. Pull device into bed and start the death scroll.
Yes.
Okay. That is the worst way to start your day. Why? Because it gets you reacting. First of all, like if you start on social media or news, it's immediate dump of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
About not only is it negative, 99.9% of his stuff you can't do anything about. Okay. So it's disempowering. Like you're really going to start the first 15 seconds of your day going into disempowerment. You don't think this is going to affect everything else you do today? Okay. So like you don't do any of that.
Well, the financial markets are going crazy, but the thing is, are you in it for the long haul? And do you have the right buckets in your financial plan? That is the key. I brought on Brad Connors. We go back a long ways and a good friend of mine, but he advises individuals, corporations, and institutional investors since 1994. He's built his practice, iWealth, into something to really understand about how your financial picture is really supposed to determine the purpose that you want to create in your life and what you want that long-term picture to be. Now, listen to this podcast because I know you can pick up some great tips on financial strategy for yourself and your family, but also determining what your purpose is going to be when you hit that word called retirement. So listen to episode 172 and then make sure you go check out the full podcast.
I think for, an adult that has a 401k or something like that, I think you get to a point, Gary, where you need to find someone else for the help. The problem comes is you don't know how to find that help, where to seek it. We've got Google and we've got all these companies that are out there online, and there's information overload that's out there. But typically you're going to want to find someone that you can trust and have a conversation with. And that's not so easy. And a lot of times, our clients are coming to us from existing clients. It's the old word of mouth type thing, and treat people how you want to be treated, and it comes back to you tenfold. That's how it happens. So I would suggest that whoever's listening that might not have a financial advisor first, that they start asking the people they trust and respect on money issues, on who they're seeing and what they're doing, and start to learn. And there's some people some books that they can read and things like that too. But ultimately, it's that conversation one-on-one with somebody that you trust.
Well, this was a fun one. Dr. Alan Hunt, he's a nationally known speaker and a best-selling author. And man, we had a good time talking about faith and talking about his journey of being a mega church pastor to now sharing the message in the Catholic Church. But really what we talked about was life. It's really about life, about marriage, about where we're at in our road and where we're going in our life. So you really need to check out this podcast because Dr. Hunt shares some great tips and strategies that can really benefit you as an individual. So listen to this clip on episode 173 and make sure you go check out the full podcast.
The LEGS model is love all you can, earn all you can, give all you can, and save all you can. And so the love all you can, that makes sense because that's sort of our purpose. Earn all you can. It's not a bad thing to earn money. It's a good thing. God gave us that ability to create wealth, to earn money, and to do that for his purpose and his glory. And then to give all you can. I think that's where a lot of us struggle for different kinds of reasons. But to actually really be intentional about having a plan for what percentage of my income am I going to give away? Rick Warren, the great Baptist preacher who's at Saddleback Church out in California. I always remember one of his sermons. He said, I don't think I would ever pray for God to bless my business unless I plan to use the proceeds from that business to glorify God. So if I'm just praying for God to bless my business so that I can have a bigger car or a nice lake house, don't think I'd be praying for that. I think God's blessing your business for a reason. And save all you can is not so much about saving for retirement, although I'm all for that, but it's about living beneath your means and to save here and there and not spend as much as you could to take not only pressure off yourself, but to free up your income to be able to give more, because you're going to get more satisfaction. The more of your money and the more of your life you give away, the more you're going to get back in return.
Now, I had fun with this one because I'm getting to know this gentleman really well. And Aaron Walker, better known as Big A, I'm telling you, he's run dozens of companies and sold them and has been in business for over 42 years. And I don't care if you're in business or not, you're going to learn something from this guy because Aaron is a wealth of knowledge. I'm telling you, he's wrote a book called View from the Top. It's a must read, but the key is it's really about our connections. It's about our relationships. What is the difference we make in them? The people that we know very well, but who's the people do we need in our circle? I'm telling you, make sure you listen to episode 174. Check out this clip, and Aaron Walker will really impress you. And then make sure you go check out the full podcast.
And I look at it as I'm a steward over what God has entrusted in me. And I work like it depends on me, and I trust like it depends on the Lord. Because for me and my faith, he is the orchestrator. He is the person that brings the increase. He is the reason. And it's not something that is a part of my life. It is my life. And for me, they're just inseparable. And we've lived our entire life that way as a believer, stating, hey, I want to bring you glory and honor ultimately. That's what I'm trying to do and attempting to do. And he directs our paths and he directs our steps. And it's through meditation and it's through prayer and it's through scripture reading and it's through garnering the consensus of the multitudes. The people, as Jim Rohn says, we're the average of the people we spend the most time with. And that's true. And so I want to position myself around people that have like-mindedness. I want to position myself with people that have similar core values.
Now, John Schramm shared with us really how you can be an expert in whatever field you're going into. His field happened to be IT, and he set himself apart in branding. And I tell you, I love marketing, and we should all think about how do we market ourselves. So in this episode 175, John Schramm really shares with us why he went to the purple guys and how by creating a brand, he has really identified himself and his company in a special way and then really created a differentiator in the marketplace. So think about this in your business and maybe you can apply that to your business. So let's check out this clip on 175 on episode 175. Here's John Schramm.
The bottom line is our customers named us, and if they can name you, they can remember it. And so what has that led to is, in the small business world, and I said we're kind of good at the sales and marketing side. It's mostly accidental. I would like to take credit for it, but I didn't come up with the name. And for us, and I've probably a lot of small businesses out there, it's how do you get somebody's attention? How do you get them to remember you? Yep. So this is it's an accidental brand, but it's really memorable. So I meet somebody and 6 months later, if they've got a computer issue, they won't remember my name. I guarantee that. But they'll remember that purple guy. He said something about purple, and you Google purple computer support, we're the only thing that comes up. So you can find us, you can remember us. And then we added the characters a few years ago. So
now, John Vang, come on in episode 176. I'm telling you, he shared with us why social media and SEO and really understanding the internet is so important today's marketplace. He's gave us plenty of practical tips and strategies that we can use. But the thing is, he broke it down for small and mid-sized businesses to make it very explainable. So I'm telling you, you really need to check out this podcast. If you are on the internet, which I think is everyone, so you need to listen to this podcast. Listen to this clip on episode 176.
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing is acknowledging who your ideal customer is. First off, it's like run a business and take a profile of your 10 best paying customers, the ones that are actually spending money with you, and have a profile of them, their age, where they hang out, what platforms they're on, what's the content piece they like absorbing, and producing good information that answers their problem on the website that you own. So number one is build a good website that answers the problem that people want to be found, right? And then start producing good content that relates to their problems, their triggers. And once you start building that authority, which is now you're doing and producing more information to back up with substance of what people have issues or problems with, then you start building your authority in the eyes of not just Google, but your customers. Because ultimately it's about the customers that you want to absorb and, click on your website.
Now, we ended off that month of June starting off with Mark Mancine, and I'm telling you, he's got a lot of great information. He's with Paychex, but he's an HR, compliance, and PEO and benefits consultant. And Mark's information is so important today because as we're fighting to get employees and team members on our team, we've got to have a good benefits package. Well, it's challenging for a small business. So if you're a small business owner or if you know one, this may be one of those podcasts you forward. I've already sent it to about 5 of my 5 business owners that I know really well. And I was talking to one the other day and he was talking about the challenges of benefits. So I just shared this podcast because there's a lot of wealth of knowledge in this podcast that can benefit you. So make sure you check out Mark Mancine on episode 177. Listen to this clip and then go check out the full podcast.
Yeah, our small and medium-sized business, everybody's wearing 15 hats, right? They're all doing a lot and overwhelmed. And one of the areas I've seen where there's just way too much admin time and manual entry is you have all these different vendors and you're having to manage all these different systems. And so, for example, I had a baby a year ago. With, if I work for you and I, let you know that I had a baby, you have to go into the broker system and change it there. You have to go in the payroll system and change it there. And then maybe you have your own internal system, right? And so what I did was I just added the baby onto my phone app, the same phone app that I can see my check stubs. I can manage my retirement. I can enroll in my benefits, manage my benefits. I just added the baby and it just communicated with all the systems. It was one sign-in, one system. Same with retirement.
I love having guests from across the pond. Robert Klinkenberg, I'm telling you, he was from Scotland, and it was a great podcast. What a guy. I'm telling you, he's done multiple triathlons and Ironmans. I'm telling you, this guy it's amazing. He's got some strength, but he's got strength in his message and stuff. I learned a lot from him, was able to complete my own triathlon from some of the tips that he shared. But really, he talked about the challenges we all have of our busyness of our life, of being able to move forward. So how can we really understand our business to be able to take that time with our family and friends and really create the culture and the vision that we want in our organization? But a lot of it comes down to you. It's about your mindset. I talk about it all the time, but here's an expert that shared it from his point of view. So I think you should check out episode 178. Listen to this clip.
Everybody's got their own unique strengths and blind spots. So being able to go into and identify that and really be able to figure out how am I going to coach that individual person? Yeah, they're all great working together as a team, but everybody needs a little hand holding. And I remember a phrase I heard a few weeks ago, and it talked about, be aware of your weaknesses, but invest in your strengths.
Yeah.
And that was it was so impactful to me that, a lot of people try and go out and practice every day, but really invest in what your strengths are. Take some time to figure out what are your strengths and what can I do to sharpen the saw? How can I really home in on some of the strengths I have?
Now, when two entrepreneurs get together, what do you get? Some great conversation. And that's what I had in this podcast. I'm telling you, Brian Clayton, we had a great time because we're two entrepreneurs. He's built multiple businesses, but now he is the co-founder and CEO of GreenPal. It's an online marketplace. So if you're thinking about how do you use online more, we've given you several tips throughout these podcasts in this quarter to check it out. But before starting GreenPal, he had another business. He had that regular business of landscaping and tree cutting, and he grew that business to over $10 million a year in annual sales and lots of employees and team members. So there's lots of knowledge in this podcast. So make sure you go check out this clip, episode 179, and then check out the full podcast.
Somebody on the team needs to be spending 3, 4, 5, 10 hours a week on reputation management. That means responding to all the reviews and figuring out, okay, but some people are unreasonable, nothing you can do. You just kindly respond back that sorry, we let you down and send them on their way. But this could be one of the best R&D things that you can do in terms of maybe we do suck in some places, and maybe there are some things we need to fix in the core aspect of the business that we're offering. And this is kind of helping us. Then also, you're pinging and reaching out to your clientele, particularly the ones you know are happy, and asking them if you did a really great job, they'll be glad to do it, to transfer the satisfied customer experience to Yelp or Google or Facebook or Trustpilot, wherever you're sending them. My point is somebody's got to do it. Yeah. And so it's you as the founder owner doing it first. You're going to get the first 100 or 1,000 reviews. And while you're doing that, you're codifying the process that we do to get them.
Wow, Chargers, I'm telling you, we had a great quarter in second quarter, and mostly it's because of you, because you keep coming back each week and checking out our podcast and letting others know about it. So I can't thank you enough. So as we go in the third quarter, I can tell you, we've already recorded some of the podcasts. We've got some great guests lined up. So we're going to keep the momentum going. 2021 is turning out to be an excellent year in the Charge podcast, and you need to check each one out. But I need you to do me a favor. Either on this one or the next podcast, I'd do it right here, or pick one of them that I just shared with you. Listen to that podcast and then go to your app and send that to 3 of your friends. I really need you to do it. We're going to keep growing it. Our base keeps going. The downloads keep going up. Our numbers, we're at 180 podcasts now that we've done for the Charge podcast. Do you know most people quit when they get started on podcast in around the 50 number? Well, we're at 180. We're going to crack that 200 number soon, and it's because of you. So thanks for joining me on the Charge Podcast. If you got any suggestions for guests, just go to chargepodcast.com. There's a link on there that you can send me a message, and we would love to get them on as a guest. If you just have their name, if you've got their email, if you got their phone number, whatever you have, we'll do the rest from there. But please recommend anyone that you have. And remember, like and share the podcast. Let others know about it, because that's how we keep growing. And I look forward to continuing to serve you in this third quarter with great guests. Remember, as we leave the day, I want you to think about this thought. Make it a great day. Make it a great day. Not have a nice day. Make it a great day. And let's make 2021 what we want it to be. Chargers, I'm excited, as you can tell. I hope you're excited too. Come back next week and we'll have our first guest in the third quarter. Make it a great day. See you next week.
This podcast has ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.